Hi guys, welcome to the November community call. Today we have a very packed agenda. Just going to go quickly through the agenda and hand it over to our lovely speakers here today. So first I'm going to share some Odyssey news. I'm going to keep it very short so that everyone has enough time to speak today, followed by a global symposium recap from Singapore. Mukkesh and Cindy will be doing that, and another from Taiwan, where Septi and Dian will be presenting their experience. And then we'll have the training session by Taiwan today, one on a population level estimation study, and another on a patient level prediction study, which will be done each by Whitney's team as well as Phuc's team here in the call today with us. So a brief overview of some news that news coming up from OHDSI. So the ㆍJourney annual report, right? So this is the yearly OHDSI book that comes out, and I've also asked you guys to participate in a OMOP CDM survey, where you guys submit your data sources or collaborators of each of coming from each of the regions in the APAC community, right? So the book is currently available online. The actual paper version of the book was handed out during the during the global symposium. If you were unfortunate and unable to attend the symposium in person, now's your time to check it out through the digital version of the book. So that's there. The post-event page of the Global Symposium is also live. So if you are looking into what's happened, any recordings, any poster presentations or software demos, this is also available through the OHDSI official website. And I think one important thing to worth mentioning is that APAC really made some significant contributions at the Global Symposium, which includes a few Titan Awards and multiple presentations at the Collaborator Showcase. And I believe we also have a Best Contribution winner from the Collaborator Showcase here in the call with us, which is Cindy, who did a presentation on the Gusto Data Vault that they've presented at multiple APAC community calls as well. So I'm not going to spoil the fun. I'm going to let the Symposium Recap presenters share their experience. So I'm going to stop there on the contributions from APAC. I think one last important news or announcement to make is that next month's community call was originally planned for December 21st. We've decided to move this to 1 week earlier because 21st is very close to Christmas, right? And it might conflict with a lot of people's year-end plans. So yeah, please make sure to save the date. It's December 14th, not 21st. And without further ado, I'm going to hand over to Mukkesh and Cindy on their presentation about their experience at the Global Symposium. So Mukkesh, Cindy, do you want me to...
Before we go there, we can't just skim over the fact that we had Titan winners at the symposium, right? We actually had 2 Titan winners at the symposium, not 1, but 2. So we had, yeah, I know. It's actually quite amazing. It's Nicole for her leadership role in OHDSI and in APAC, and also Sung for his collaboration and community support role in OHDSI and APAC. So, and then of course Cindy for the abstract. So congratulations to all 3 for our contributions in APAC. So just to put things in perspective, there's only 8 Titan Awards. APAC took 25% of that. So that's amazing. So
thanks. Thanks, Mui. I think Septi and Dian are going to touch on that in their presentation about the Global Symposium recap. So I didn't want to spoil the fun, but thank you again. I think it was a great experience, and it's great to see APAC is finding a good place in the OHDSI community, and we are becoming famous, right? Let's hope we take over all the Titan Awards in the next few coming years. All right, Mukkesh, Cindy, I'll continue sharing if that's okay from your end.
Yeah, I think
okay. Excellent. Thanks. Over to you.
Thank you. I was just I think Cindy and myself are here from Singapore, A*STAR. Most of us are familiar with the both of us as well, right? So we are actually from A*STAR. We actually look after the data management, and in particular, the Gusto cohort is what we're looking at for OMOP, and that's the one that actually has led us towards the software demo and the work that we're working on at Singapore primarily. All right, let's go on. Yeah, so there are key takeaways that we want to share with you here in this opportunity, and also talk about the collaborator showcase. So Cindy will be covering the first two components, and then I'll be coming back again to share a bit more on the work group meetings that we had, which really helped us a lot, especially for our ongoing mapping efforts for Gusto. We can share that with the community here to again help you with your ongoing efforts as well. Yeah, and on the picture there is a picture of the Statue of Liberty that we got a chance to take on our way back to Singapore. So we actually hit to New York and we took some pictures on our way back home.
Is that photo taken by yourself, Mukkesh?
Yeah, took that
Oh,
picture.
awesome. That's
Well,
a great picture.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Okay. All right, then Cindy, over to you to talk about the main takeaways.
So actually, all the photos are either taken by me or Mukkesh in this presentation.
On the top right, you can see Monin there, showcasing the APAC Symposium 2024. Yeah.
Okay, so for the symposium, there's a mixture of talks and workshop and various work group discussions, which I quite like because we can discuss and talk about what we are more interested in. Yeah. Then there's also this how often workshop, but that one they break into different groups also, but me and Mukkesh went to the UI UX discussion for their R Shiny app, which was useful for us because we will know that what people look out for for the UI UX of a website. Yeah. Then we attended the work group for the CDM or data network quality and the vocabulary work group, which Mukkesh will talk about more later. And then, so overall, I felt that for the symposium, there's a lot of emphasis on large scale collaboration or expanding on network studies. Then there's also a lot of emphasis on the building of the open source community or using the tools to do analysis or data related stuff. Yeah. Then I don't know if it's because we attended the vocabulary work group, but I felt that actually a lot of the people who are actually interested in adding their own vocab into the main OMOP vocabulary. Yeah. Then there's also some mention about AI, using AI for OMOP also. Yes. Then the next point on the more casual side of things, during the day one closing, there was this escape room activity, which was quite fun. Everyone literally everyone in the room was working together to solve the codes and the puzzles to build a cute looking thing. Yeah. Then at the end there's also OHDSI Got Talent and woohoo! So Chan and Song and Sarah were one of the participants for the OHDSI Got Talent. Yeah. And we added Frank's photo here because he won the OHDSI Got Talent. Yeah. Then for the next point and next slide, so for the collaborators showcase, because they split it into two different sessions, so I kind of like it because if we present for one session, we at least can have the other session to walk around and look at the posters or interact with the people who are presenting. Yeah, so this is some photos that we took on that day. And yeah, happy to say that we have won the Best Community Contribution Award for the symposium. Yay.
I think it's worth mentioning that Cindy was also in the global community call recently, right? To talk about the abstract here, the poster here. So yeah, congratulations, Cindy, on your on the award, right?
Thank you. Okay, then next, Mukkesh will move on for the work group.
Thanks, Cindy. Yeah, so on the first day, or rather the second day, right, we actually were going towards the CDM Network Data Quality Work Group. We were particularly keen in this because Gusto, as you know, is in the phase of doing our mapping towards OMOP CDM, and we've been facing issues and trying to understand more about CDM as well. So what we actually took away as one of the main points was in terms of the direction forward, right? There's a big interest in trying to set up a high-level data network that actually helps us to forge collaboration. So in terms of understanding the different databases that we have, not just knowing who these organizations are, right? When we go one level further in terms of understanding what concept IDs they have, right? What are the sample sizes, simple data visualizations. So actually it's an essential first step for us to start seeing potential collaborators who may have data of interest that we may need for network studies. And I think this is something that the community feels is a very important initiative. So Claire is leading these efforts there together with the OHDSI Central Coordinating Center in trying to build up what they call as a database snapshot. Essentially, it's a profile of your CDM instance, right? So it gives you a breakdown of the various concept IDs, sample sizes, visualization, something that we've shown with the OMOP data catalog. So I see that as a stepping stone towards where we're heading towards building these large-scale database profiles so we can understand each other's metadata more transparently and forge more collaborations in that way. Yeah, and all of this is planned to be hosted from the AWS environment, hopefully giving access, viewing access to the OHDSI members. Yeah, so this actually helps you in, again, looking at potential data sets of interest, and then you can start forming collaborations. I think along the lines of, in the last call, we had trying to understanding the areas of, where there could be potential data sets along the areas of, using for some certain medical treatments, right? We talked about using cannabis, medicinal cannabis. So which partners may have that data set where it's approved. So all that will help us towards forming more of an understanding of what's out there and how can we harness all our data assets together. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Yeah, and the second one was the vocabulary work group meeting. Yeah, so again, this was something of a lot of interest to Gusto and Singapore at large. Like what Cindy mentioned to you earlier, we have very customized data sets and vocabularies that we're working with because they are research based. And again, it's very refined, right? So we don't want to lose the granularity of the research data sets. So how can we do that by adding on non-standard concept IDs here? So it was actually a follow-up. If you recall, in one of our previous calls, we actually had Anna of ㆍOHDSI coming over to give us an introduction and overview of the various templates that you see on the right-hand side, right from adding new non-standard concepts to adding synonyms and, actually promoting some of these non-standard concepts to standard concepts. How do we do it? So actually, it got us understanding this even more in depth. We actually got to see the full team, right? The OMOP vocabulary working group team got to understand their ideas and their plans forward as well, how this can be done. And again, for Gusto, our intention is to start introducing new non-standard concept IDs to retain the granularity of the data. And eventually, we hope that these will help the other cohort studies out there, like the Boston Birth Cohort Study, Shanghai Birth Cohort Study. So in a way, Gusto is helping them do a lot of the hard work. So it becomes easy for them downstream when they do their mapping, and even helps us towards going towards doing network studies with these cohorts out there globally. Yeah, and do join us for the 7th December OHDSI APAC Scientific Forum call. With Anna coming back again, she's going to be talking about the drug vocabularies now, how we can actually be contributing towards the drug vocabularies. So it's again a follow-up to the previous sessions that we've already done before. Yeah, and one of the takeaways we learned is the vocabulary work group is trying to build a metadata within Athena in trying to show the uphill-downhill relationship of concept IDs, how they are mapping to and mapping from. So again, this is important, especially when you start dealing with complex data sets with a lot of relationships amongst them. So this is something that the team is trying to work on. So yeah, we felt that there are avenues for us to be tapping onto the CDM and expanding it further, in a way keeping it very much inclusive, and that was very helpful for us. Okay, I think that's pretty much from us. Any questions?
All right. I think silence means no. Thanks, Mukkesh, for your presentation, and Cindy as well. And thank you for promoting the scientific forum in 2 weeks, right? So yeah, everyone, there is a scientific forum. The next session will handle drug vocabularies. I'm sure this is a lot of interest within the community because the previous sessions only covered and was only applicable to non-drug vocabulary. So please do join us. We will have a good session in 2 weeks' time. So next, I'll hand over to Septi and Dian, who will give their experience of the symposium. Over to you, Septi.
Okay, thank you, Song. Sorry, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, so this is just yeah, I want to share my experience with Dian. Also, we went to New Jersey to attend OHDSI Global Symposium on October 20 and 22nd. Yeah, just overview for the symposium. This is the agenda. This is like 3 days of symposium, and so the first day will be like yeah, this is the overview of the first day. Next. Yeah, so the symposium was opened by George. So in this first session is a state of the community where various leaders within OHDSI share the presentation about the state of the community. So I think I heard that most of the participants in this symposium are the first timer to join the symposium. So this is like the first a good chance for OHDSI to introduce what is OHDSI and what is how OHDSI works, and yeah, how the community within OHDSI works. Next. So for the plenary, it was yeah, it was opened by the Anna Astropolet, Magtai, and also Patrick. So yeah, they kind of like introduce their keeper tool to improve the reliability and scalability of the case validation. I think in this plenary, it's interesting because we as the participant were like challenge to really to know is this really a case or not, but they also like introduce like their tool, and then using the combination of keeper and also like large language model to yeah, to really improving the reliability and scalability of the case validation. Next. And then it was followed by the panel talk. So for some leaders for the network study, like Legend and also SOS Challenge, they share about the lesson learned from the network study. So we can like know like how if we want to join the network study in the future, so we can like know like a glimpse what is look like in the network study. Yeah, next. Yeah, it was followed by Dian.
Okay, thank you, Septi. Is it clear? I mean, my voice?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Good morning, everyone from Taipei. I'm Dian, and today I'm excited to bring you to a snapshot of our recent experience at the OHDSI Global Symposium. Yeah, we have work group meetings during Saturday and Sunday, and some of these are discussed. I'm personally in the NLP group because I'm interested and want to know more about how NLP works on the OHDSI platform and how to extract meaningful information from clinical notes so it can lead to better
patient care and resource management. In general, work group like this one indicated a great example of spirit of teamwork that is so important for the future healthcare. We can building more connected, objective, and technologically advanced healthcare system by bringing together people from different fields. Next, please. Yeah. Yeah, I'm excited to share insights into how informal discussions like the one we had about diverse foods and our culture backgrounds over lunch can be a powerful tool for building community. Or maybe we can have collaboration over cuisine. As you can see in this picture, new friendship and professional connection are formed, not in formal activity, but in the shared experience of enjoying a meal together. And yeah, this picture take after we enjoying lunch. Next, please. Yeah. Each poster is a snapshot of our journey, like a deep dive into a complex problem, the methodology we employed, and the innovative solution we've discovered, I guess. Next one. Yeah, this award is intended for collaborators for their contribution to OHDSI's vision and mission. So congratulations. That's very good. But in this opportunity, allow me to take this opportunity to provide input for the further OHDSI Symposium. I think every individual who attends the OHDSI Symposium, whether by presenting a poster, sharing insights, or simply being present, contributes significantly to the success of the collective mission, let's say. To recognize all attendees' contributions, I propose that the organizer can expand the recognition system to include participation certificates. I think like this certificate would be not only a symbol of appreciation, but also an affirmation to their commitment to OHDSI shared mission, vision, and aims. Yeah, it understands that every effort to engage with and enhance our community's knowledge is both vital and necessary, whether one's function is in the spotlight or in the audience. Okay, next. Yeah, this photo captures the essence of our symposium, like a community united by a common purpose and a passion for advancing global health through open science. So until next year, let's keep in touch, keep collaborating, and keep innovating. So see you at the next OHDSI Symposium, where we will once again come together to celebrate and share our achievements. I think that's all from us. Thank you.
Thanks, Septi and Dian. Is there any questions from the community? Great. I see Septi here. Where do I see Dian? Septi's up in the front row. Oh, there's Sarah there. I see some familiar faces in the photo. I really like this photo, right, guys? It's sort of become a tradition. So, yeah. Again, guys, it's great to see you guys in person one day. Either at the Global Symposium or also the APAC Symposium in December next year, right? Oh, Mark, you have a question.
I was just going to say, hey, Dian, I just texted George with your suggestion. Don't worry, something we can take care of.
Cool, excellent. All right, let's hear more, hopefully, in the next few coming months around the proposal that Dian just made. So, yeah, this is all for the Global Symposium recap. I think next we have Taiwan folks with their training session around population level estimation and patient level prediction. So first presenter, I think, is Whitney. Over to you.
Hi, good morning or good afternoon, everybody, or good evening for people that might be joining from other places in the world. We are going to share a study that we are currently in the midst of, what we completed and will be updating about estimating adverse cardio-related events after hormone therapy treatment in 3 female cancer populations. This is done by OHDSI Taiwan under the stewardship of Professor Jason. Oh, next slide, please. Sorry, I hit my computer like it's going to move. Thank you. So I'm going to do a quick overview of the literature and then talk about how we defined our cohorts and characterizations before moving into the preliminary results. And we'll finish up by talking about some of the changes we plan on making as we open it up to the rest of the network. Thank you. And next slide. So we know globally that cancer is increasing incidence and unfortunately mortality rate, and mortality is increasing kind of as a after effect of COVID-19. When we look at breast cancer specifically, we see that breast cancer tends to rank first either in new incidence and cases, but also in mortality. Uterine cancer ranks about 6 in incidence with a much lower mortality, and ovarian cancer, even though it ranks 8th, ranks much higher in mortality, specifically at 4.7, and is the highest mortality rate for gynecological cancers. These cancers are most likely to, of course, impact women, and they have various stages of identification, with breast cancer more likely to be found in the earlier stages, but still a significant portion found in late, versus the other 2 are diagnosed in stage 2 or stage 3, which will impact treatment decisions, but also prognosis and survival rates. Because of this, hormone therapy or treatment is often used to repress cancer cells, either through disrupting or binding the body's natural ability to produce hormones that are going to stimulate cancer occurrence or increase growth. It can be used standalone in combination with other strategies like targeted treatment, and sometimes they are used by themselves or they can be combined together. For the study that we're talking about today, we looked at aromatase inhibitors and serums, so selective estrogen receptor modulators. And these are 2 classes used in pre and postmenopausal oncology patients. Next slide, please. So kind of the mechanism of how these work is that AIs, aromatase inhibitors, are going to block and generally lower the body's ability to create hormones naturally, where serums, the estrogens, are going to bind to the receptors and therefore block the ability of the stimulation that happens for cancer to grow. There has been a couple studies done about will the blocking of hormones increase or decrease potentially risk for cardiotoxicity, specifically looking at cholesterol levels. It's really unsure of what the impact is if someone is taking AIs. However, we know that for estrogen, it does appear to reduce estrogen levels, reduce cholesterol levels, which is great because that also means that we are lowering people's risk of developing cardio concerns or events. And this is mostly done to a combination of the blocking, but also the lipid metabolization. Next slide, please. A couple of articles that just give a quick overview about kind of cardiotoxicity and disease is that we've shown the last 2 articles that there are going to be certain cardio incidents that are related to these diseases, to these treatment options, specifically looking at valvular dysfunction, stroke, ischemic, versus if we're just looking at AIs, we do see that there is a concern overall. Next slide. So for this study, we had a primary research question and then a couple sub-questions. So the primary was, can we estimate the comparative risk between aromatase inhibitors and estrogen for women with breast cancer, uterine, and ovarian cancer? When we do this, can we find out that maybe do AIs place women at greater risk for incidence, or do estrogens place women at greater risk for cardio incidence, or is it a combination of dual therapy, so having exposure to both versus only one in someone's history? Next slide, please. Thank you. For our concept steps and to follow standardization concept, we use the 9, 10, O, and the World Health Organization's Collaborative Centers for Drug Statistics to kind of set up our definitions. Next slide, please. So specifically, when we looked at conditions, we developed for creating definitions. Breast cancer, uterine cancer, and ovarian cancer, of course, based upon strictly diagnosis codes and their descendants for concept IDs, and then specifically looking at, female cancer, it was all cancers combined that I was talking about, with conclusionary being anyone under 20, that would be the age of adulthood in Taiwan for most of the cohort we were looking at, and then the earliest event per person. When we looked at drug exposure specifically, we looked at tamifloxine because that is what is used in the TMU-CRD. Just like with AIs, we didn't use all of them that are available globally. We specifically just looked at what was available in or what is in use in Taiwan. And then because we did see that there was some significant overlap in populations who may have been initially on one, so estrogens, and then moved to AIs, or so back to the other way, we did do some exclusionary drug criteria. Next slide, which I will show here. So within our review of how we did that, we ensured that as a part of our inclusion criteria and then matched to 0 for exact, that if someone was in the estrogen drug group, that they could not have had previous history or use of aromatase inhibitors, is a way of fully separating them out in the cohort that wasn't looking at dual. So this is just for monotherapy. What was slightly disappointing for us on the back end is that we found out a good number of our women, about a third of them, ended up having both therapies, to be honest. Next slide. So in looking at our outcomes, we had 14 overall. A majority are on this slide. Apologies, we couldn't get them all to fit and people still be able to see them fully. And the asterisk is just because there were too many to put down. We ended up shifting through based upon initially the literature review, moving to ICD-9 and 10 codes, and then concepts, and then developing the concept, pulling from existing concept IDs, so that we are able to have discussions about previous OHDSI studies, but then also previous literature already granted using those same codes within these populations. Next slide, please. And now I'm going to get into the preliminary results. So we found that only breast cancer, were we able to see differences in if women were on one type of hormone therapy versus another type of hormone therapy. This is because of 2 reasons. One, unfortunately, in our data set, the uterine cancer and ovarian cancer just didn't have enough power. So ovarian cancer had about 550 women in it, and uterine cancer had about 31. So that's to be expected. So when we combined all of them together, the breast cancer just overpowered the other 2. So specifically pulling the results for breast cancer for today, we found out that women who had received AI therapy were 20%, about 20% of them had arrhythmia versus those who had just received estrogen. So we do see that there is increased incidence. And I'm going to kind of talk about the propensity issue on the next slide. So next slide, please. Unfortunately, our propensity score isn't where we would like it to be. Going back and looking at this cohort, specifically when we split and stratified it, we found that really the main difference here in these populations that is going to cause the skew of who took one drug over the other was really based upon menopausal stage. with women being assigned estrogen premenopausal and those receiving AIs being postmenopausal. This we found to be, we initially didn't think this would be as big of an issue because AIs can be used in premenopausal women with other medications, and particularly they're used for estrogen receptor cancer, so we weren't expecting to see this. But it does allow us to go back, and which is part of what we'll be doing, and going back and trimming the populations down so that we specifically focus on that overlap in the center. Next slide, please. Not shocking, we found out that as time and days or years go by, women's risk of arrhythmia increases, but the contingency at the front end, so within the first couple of years. Next slide. The second outcome when we looked at adverse cardio events was in coronary, arthrodesis. I can never pronounce that. Apologies for all my medical background people in the room. Again, we found that women here, about 50% of them experienced some type of, about 50% of them experienced an incident. Next slide. But again, our propensity score, again, our propensity score was very split. So what we are going to go back and do is to split, stratify, and then trim the score down so that we can, one, focus on the overlap, so patients that are pretty much the same. Next slide. Apologies. And here we get much more, a wider description of how the incidents are occurring over time. And then the next slide. Okay. Oh, sorry, and then we get in the phone. So this is an estimation study, and it's an estimation study on a population that has very low numbers. We expected some of these issues to come up, and it's one of those things of you just can't assume all of the questions you're going to have or all the barriers you're going to face until you start to go through the research. We think as far as estimation studies go as a learning tool, this one is actually great because you're looking at two medications that, yes, has some indications of if you use one over the other one, but for certain diseases such as ovarian cancer or uterine cancer, not as much. So it allows the door to be open for how doctors may want to prescribe and allowing patients to make decisions based upon their lifestyle and if concerns around heart disease in the future are going to truly be a risk to them, or if the cancer is more of a risk in stemming reoccurrence. That is it for me for the day.
Thanks, Whitney. I have one question, and I might call out Mark, who's in the call with. Oh, Mark has a question as well. I'll go first, Mark. So, from a methodological perspective, I see Whitney and team haven't chosen to add in negative controls to calculate the calibrated values of the P and the upper and lower, as well as the hazard ratio. Do you think it's recommended to have some negative controls and see if the results change, or are they fine?
So for this, for this initial run, we didn't do it. We knew that there was going to be some difference in the population when it came to the propensity. We just didn't expect it to be as large as it is currently. When we go back and stratify and do the trimming, I think that's where the negative controls will be much more impactful, although I'm not sure. So now that you said this, I mean, the plan was to do it later. Maybe we should go back and do it now and see if it makes a difference.
Yeah, it's just an observation I made, so I'll comment there. Mark, do you have anything to add?
No, well, I wanted to say, Whitney, I think you and Jason's team at TMU are doing a great job, particularly with these causal inference questions. It's a very challenging problem, and you highlighted one of the really important differences in the indications for these drugs, which is sort of, you know, pre, peri, post, if you can divine those things for an individual, kind of menopausal. Do you have an idea of how many? So you basically have 500 women in each group across different stages of their hormonal life cycles. If you were to pick, you know, if you could define somehow, you know, pre-menopausal or peri or post, it's very difficult to do. Like, how many would you have left in each of those taxa? I was working on an evolutionary problem before this. In each of those cohorts.
So,
like, split by, like,
total in the study.
I'm going to throw out a horrible number, like 45. Like, you know, how many women above 45 in those groups versus below?
What we have. I think we would at least have 2/3 left over 45.
Okay. Yeah. So you might want to think just restricting yourself to.
Are you suggesting to focus? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, maybe just restrict yourself to, you know, women over 45, and of course there are lots of arguments of, you know, what defines and what is the value of peri versus postmenopausal, but you might find that the cohorts are more comparable.
Nicole?
No, thank you for that suggestion.
Hey, thanks for that. That's a really interesting study. I think it's a really important study too. I was interested in your comments about, you know, the next step will be to do the propensity score stratification or matching. So was that, so the estimates that you presented, the Cox model estimates, are they just adjusted for covariates? They're not propensity score matched, or did I miss that?
So I believe they are currently for the covariates, but because they're influenced by everybody that was. So for the breast cancer, they would be all 3,000 women. We would want to take out the.
Okay.
So Nicole, I think the PLE by default does the propensity score. So they are matched by propensity scores. It's just currently the calibration part there is showing NA because the team didn't choose to add in any negative controls at this moment. So the results are right now are not taking into consideration any. Okay, I'm not probably the best person to explain this from a statistical point of view, but the results may change if there is a calibration included into the analysis.
Oh, yeah, I get that. I was just wondering whether they were propensity score matched, and I think you're saying they were.
Yeah, they were.
Okay.
Mark?
Okay.
It looked like they were 1-to-1 matched. Given
They were. Okay, sorry.
Given the output, but I'm just guessing here.
Yeah.
It was 504, around 500-ish for each of the patient groups. So it is propensity score match. So this 513 for the coronary outcome and 504 for the arrhythmia outcome here. So yeah, they are matched.
Okay, so I just got confused because I think Whitney, you said you were going to trim the propensity score. So sorry, this is my misunderstanding.
Right. Is that all? If no further questions, I'll hand over to Phuc so that he can go over the prediction part of the presentation.
Thank you, Sean. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Whitney, for the very impressive study about the female cancer study. We know that we still need to improve our results. And I just quickly go through the second study from our side. It is a patient level prediction. Because our purpose want to predict the dementia risk among the patient with chronic disease. So next please. So we will present sharing the literature review, the cohort definition and the preliminary result. So I will hand over to my team, my Sandy Lin, who will share about the literature review about the rationale, how we select the cohort and how we select the outcome. So Sandy, please.
Hi, can you hear me well? Good morning, OHDSI APAC members. I'm Sunny from the Taiwan chapter. Allow me to share the following literature review about our dementia era project. I searched 3 articles in PubMed about the risk factors of dementia. Next, please. The first one was published in the Lancet Public Health in 2020. Next, please. Notably, the risk factors such as hypertension, hyperlipidemia, diabetes, and heart disease, cardiovasculars were identified. Next, please. The second one was published in the Lancet Neurology in 2014. Next, please. This paper also identifies diabetes, hypertension, and depression as risk factors. Next, please. The third one presents a population attributable fraction for 12 dementia risk factors. Next, please. It also lists hypertension, depression, and dementia as risk factors. Next, please. So based on these findings of these 3 extensive studies, we have structured our cohort as follows. Our primary cohort is divided into 4 categories: type 2 diabetes, hypertension, and depression. And as for stroke, despite doing the literature review due to time limitations, we don't consider including this cohort and producing the prediction model. And we have highlighted these risk factors because these factors are more convenient for cohort validations, especially through medication-based validation. Additionally, they lend themselves well to creating subgroups for our analysis. Classification is primarily based on the medication mechanisms. And our outcome measure is all types of dementia, with subgroups for Alzheimer's and vascular dementia. Next, please. So I would like to conclude my part here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I will continue Sunny's presentation for the cohort definition. So for our outcome is dementia with this criteria. One thing to highlight is I'm sorry, I apologize for the small and packed presentation, but one thing to highlight is we need to be careful in choosing dementia, because some dementia is actually not caused by old age or even another disease, but like dementia due to injury, dementia to ionizing radiation. We need to exclude that type of dementia, and we include 5 common drugs to be in the dementia medication, and we can get like 6,000 record from the TMUCRP. Next is our first target cohort. It's type 2 DM. It's already a common disease to be explored. So yeah, we use type 2 DM, and the bottom left we include the exclusion criteria by not including the prior type 1 DM and secondary diabetes. From the TMUCRP, we got like 91,000 records. Next, the second target cohort is hypertension. We limit the hypertension only for essential hypertension, not secondary type hypertension, and we include hypertension medication based on GNC8, which is including thiazide, calcium channel blocker, angiotensin receptor blocker, and also ACE inhibitors. And from the TMUCRT, we get like 150,000 records. The next one, the last target cohort is depression, it's still uncommon to be explored. So there are, as we know, there are various degree of depression and various type of depression. We exclude depression that is associated with bipolar disorder, because bipolar disorder is a different kind of depression, and we still include mild type depression because in Taiwan, even the mild type depression is getting the antidepressive drugs such as SSRI, non-selective monoamine oxidase, and monoamine A inhibitors. So from this cohort, we get 31,000 records. The next section will be presented by Phuc.
So thank you, Sandy and Daniel. So after we got the cohort built in by Daniel, I put them all in the package called so-called baseline level prediction developed by OHDSI. I think this package is not really like complicated to compare with the other like strategies or the other packages. And thanks solely from our teammate here also like take a lot of effort to fix the error and the bug from the code. One of the limitation of the baseline level prediction packages is that like they only can execute from one target cohort to one target outcome. So we have to like combine them all together. But like when they execute for the result, they only like execute like one target cohort to one target outcome to one outcome. With the models we selected from the package. So in the execution, we choose like three algorithms, excluding the logistic regression, like GBM and KNN. So next, please. And this is the pilot result from like target cohort T2DN to predict the overall dementia. So within the three algorithms, we got the logistic regression that they acquired the mean AUC at 0.8. And next, please. For the hypertension to the dementia, we have a both algorithm excluding the logistic regression, the like GBM, they can acquire the mean AUCs over than 0.8. And next, please. For the depression, we got the like GBM is like the outperform the mean AUC is 0.84. Actually, like if we have it limited uptime, so I cannot show the specific result inside of every prediction model. But like next, please. Yeah, we recently, we just upload our packages and our results on our GitHub repository. So like we also like seeking for the collaboration from our partners. The reason we selected to study to share in our APAC community because like from June this year from Sydney. We had the early discussion with Chance from Korea and which also moved and shown like how can we accelerate our collaboration study, and we found out like two of our studies is one of the most interesting, and we also got like the early agreement from Chance, like he will like participant with us and have a kind of the collaboration and validation from his data. So furthermore, like I'm also like wish that like after our two study sharing, like it can like ask for more collaboration from our chapter members. So once again, like congratulations, Chance, Sean and Nico for the title awards, and thank you for all members like of joined us today. Thank you.
Thanks, Phuc. Thanks, Whitney, for your presentation. Any questions from the audience for Phuc? Okay, silence means no. So guys, if you guys are interested in the studies that Phuc and Whitney presented to you today, please visit the GitHub if you want to check out the codes. If you're interested in participating, please reach out to Phuc and Whitney through email, or I'm pretty sure they have other methods of communication that they prefer. If you express your interest to participate. So that's all we have prepared for today. We have 3 minutes left in the meeting. Any other comments from the audience? Right. I think we had a great session today. We're right on time. I'm going to give everybody 3 minutes back. And last but not least, guys, please don't forget the next community call is December 14th. The next scientific forum is on December 7th. So they will be 1 week apart this time. So see you guys at the scientific forum, followed by the December community call. Thanks, everyone. Bye.